Hey riders, I'm in the garage today doing some work on the Sur Ron. Had to do some repairs, so the last time I was out, I was riding some really hard trails and I crashed the bike a whole bunch of times. I dropped it over and over again and I was super tired. And one time when I picked it up after I crashed it, the display was completely blank. It went dark. And so I got worried that I screwed up the electronics, but the bike still rode fine. So the throttle still worked, everything still worked. The battery thing, display thingy still worked. So I kept riding. And after a few minutes, I realized I was like way down on power. And so what happened was, even though my switch was like in sport mode, it was actually riding like it was in eco mode. So I got the bike home and I started pulling it apart and I realized what the problem is. So some of you guys have done, this is a really popular mod, and you have done like a Pro Taper riser bar or whatever it is. And then some people have done like a riser stem like I have too, because the controls are so low, they're so hard to ride. So that lifts everything up and out. And the problem is the factory cables, they're not long enough. They don't have enough slack to handle that lift. So what happened for my bike was there wasn't enough slack, so these were getting pulled out like hard. And then when I turned my bars lock to lock, they were getting, like, the cable was actually tight, like there was tension on it like this, and it was getting yanked out harder and harder and harder every time I turned my bar. To make things worse, I have this aftermarket headlight switch that I got off eBay. And this adds one extra wire that has to come through the stock wiring location. So I'll show you how that runs. It basically just runs, all the wires run here. This little cover plate has a little relief cutout. So if you add an extra wire in there, it can get pinched and it can wear down your other wires too. So just pay close attention. And then the crappy thing too is this is kind of sharp inside too, like the casting on the plastic, there's a sharp edge there. So I'm gonna file that down, and I'm probably gonna put some tape, foam tape or electrical tape or something, just to protect it, because if your wires have any kind of movement at all, it'll just rub and wear through. And that's what happened to mine. So it rubbed through and it completely cut this controller cable. And so that's why the display went dark. But then when you cut one of these wires, even though your switch was last in sport mode, the controller detects, hey, there's no switch. And then it defaults into your, eco mode. So you can't even get sport mode. So the easy fix, because I'm lazy and I don't want to splice and extend all these wires, and I don't want to go back to a low handlebar, all I've done is I've just taken this control, this switch thing, and then moved it over. So I've moved it from here to here, and that roughly gives me back like the 2 or 3 inches that I lost in cable length. So now there's slack. So now when I get this all buttoned back up, I turn the bar and it's not yanking anymore. It's loose, just like it was in the factory. So hopefully that tip helps you guys out. Check your bikes if you have riser bars. If you have extra switches or whatever that you're running through here, just double check, make sure your cables aren't getting rubbed through. Make sure that's all smooth and it doesn't have that little sharp plastic edge. Put some tape on there, but yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. Thanks, and till next time.